MLB Network posted a potential Astros opening day lineup. I'm going to read it to you, and then you give me your thoughts. Batting leadoff, Jose Altuve. Hitting second, Michael Brantley. Batting third, Alex Bregman. Batting fourth, Yordan Alvarez. Batting fifth, Jose Abreu. Batting sixth, Kyle Tucker. Batting seventh, Jeremy Peña. Batting eighth, Chas McCormick. Batting ninth, Martin Maldonado.
It's perfect. I wouldn't change a thing. There are a couple of question marks for a lot of Astros fans, and there are a couple of debates that I think you could have about this projected batting order from MLB Network, but I like it the way that it is. I'm cool with Michael Brantley batting second. If you asked me right after the World Series, I would have said Jeremy Peña needs to bat second without any hesitation because he was so amazing in the playoffs batting second. The Astros were dominant as a team. They went 11-2 throughout that World Series run without Michael Brantley and with Jeremy Peña in that two-hole. So right after the World Series, me being prisoner of the moment, my answer would have been Jeremy Peña without question. I would have said put Peña at 2 and put Brantley at 7. Flip those guys around. But the more I think about it, Michael Brantley's the better hitter right now. Like, that could change. If Michael Brantley starts to decline, if Father Time catches up to him a little bit, or if he just doesn't bounce back from that injury and become the same player that he's been for the majority of his career, and Jeremy Peña progresses the way I expect him to progress, then okay, all of a sudden, it's a different conversation. But if Michael Brantley is 100% by opening day, and this exercise, I think, assumes that Brantley will be fully healthy by the time we get to the end of March, I'm going to assume he's the same old Brantley, and he's the better player. Last year, Michael Brantley, a higher batting average, a much higher OPS, a higher OPS plus. Stark difference between the two when you look at Brantley's numbers and you look at Jeremy Peña's numbers. And we talk about it all the time, and everybody talks about it. It's not a wheelhouse thing. Anybody who's watched Michael Brantley over the years has described him as a professional hitter. That's what he is. He works pitchers. He works counts. He gets on base, which sets the table for the heart of the Astros order. He strikes out less than Jeremy Peña. He sets the table and keeps the wheels in motion for this Astros lineup. To me, he should bat second. If he's 100% by opening day, which I think he will be, he should bat second, and Jeremy Peña should bat in the bottom third of the order.
I would bat Peña in the 2 spot because this lineup really took off last season when Peña was moved there. And in the playoffs, Jeremy Peña was the best hitter on the team. He was the AL, CS MVP, and the World Series MVP. So I want Jeremy Peña to kind of build off that, and I want to show all the confidence I have in him and put him in that 2 spot. Let him hit in between Jose Altuve in this lineup. Let him hit in between Alex Bregman in this lineup. There's going to be guys on base, guys protecting him. I want to give him a chance to really take a stranglehold of the job. I want to see if the Peña we saw in the regular season, just how much better he could be with another full offseason, and then coming off a postseason where he had all the confidence in the world and now has all that confidence to build off of going into this year. Plus, I just think you lengthen your lineup if you keep Michael Brantley that low in the order. Imagine Brantley batting 7th. I mean, I just feel like unless Peña struggles, give him first crack at being the number 2 hitter because you won a World Series with him doing exactly that.
Yeah, the Astros were amazing with Peña batting second, not only in the playoffs, but in the regular season as well. I mean, the record was ridiculous when he was hitting there. I think Peña's a stud. I think he's going to take a step. I think you could have that lineup conversation about how deep the Astros lineup is, even if Peña's batting 7th, because he's a better 7-hole hitter than just about any other team's 7-hole hitter across Major League Baseball. So I don't think the conversation changes too much there. My question to you would be, how long of a leash would you give Jeremy Peña there? And are you worried about, okay, if you bat him second to start the year, and then you move him down in the lineup because he does get off to a bit of a slow start, or are you worried about that messing with his head a little bit and messing with his confidence?
I just don't think he's going to be messed up, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know. But part of me is like, all right, we're going to do an opening day lineup on February 8th. How do we know all these guys are going to be healthy by the time we get to the season? But I'm not going to sit here and make a stink if they put Brantley in the 2 spot. I just think this team was at its best last year without Brantley, and Peña was hitting in the 2 spot, and he was the MVP of 2 playoff series, including the World Series.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him a chance. He was amazing in the World Series, in the absolute pressure cooker of the playoffs, batting second. I think he's earned the opportunity to be the opening day number 2 hitter.
Yeah, I'm basing mine more off the regular season and what we saw from these guys in that larger sample size. But look, I think it's a great debate. And looking on Twitter over the course of the last 24 hours since MLB Network posted this tweet, a lot of people agree with you. It's been a pretty even split in regards to who Astros fans think should bat second. So you've got a strong case to make for both guys, and that's a great problem for the Astros to have. I think the other debate we're talking about here, Jake, is Jose Abreu versus Kyle Tucker. MLB Network has Abreu batting 5th and Tucker batting 6th. Any qualms with the new guy jumping Kyle Tucker in the Astros lineup?
Not really. I honestly, I said this last year. I think the lineup could be at times a little overrated. So I don't have a problem with it. I think the fact that this is like a legit discussion that just how deep this team is when you just look at it, no matter how they decide to do it, is kind of absurd, right? Chas McCormick is hitting 8th. He's one of their better playoff hitters last year. He's in the 8th spot. You really could argue this team is 8 deep if McCormick turns out to be more of what he was in the playoffs over the course of a full regular season.
Right. Big if. Look, I would love for that to happen. I mean, Chas was spectacular on offense and on defense throughout that playoff run. But, we're talking about a guy that wasn't this team's opening day starter in center field and a guy who had to work his ass off to get the job over the course of last season. So the sample size thing, like, yes, he's a young player, reason to believe that he could get better, and you hope that confidence that he got from October and November bleeds into this season and he could take a step and be even better than he was at the end of last year. But yeah, the whole sample size thing with what we saw in the regular season, I don't know. I don't know how confident I am in him being that good over the course of 162. But if he is, you're absolutely right. I mean, this is an 8-deep lineup that the Astros have, and I don't want to say you can interchange everybody 1 through 8. Like, some guys obviously belong in certain spots, but man, if you could feel good about 1 through 8, like that's the 2019 Astros. You were talking about stuff like that. We weren't having those conversations. During the regular season last year, 7 through 9, the Astros were in the 20s in most of the offensive statistical categories, like batting average and OBP and home runs. Like, the bottom third of the Astros order last year was not very good because Peña was struggling for a lot of the season, and you weren't getting consistency in center field. And obviously, Martin Maldonado is what he is at this point. I don't think anyone's banking on that dude building off anything at the plate at this stage in his career. But if you could get 7 and 8 back there, I don't think the pitching is going to take a tremendous step back by any stretch. But like, without Verlander, okay, maybe your staff gets a little bit worse this season. If your offense can pick up the slack, this team's going to be exactly where they were last year. And then I'm cool. Like, I think this is what Dusty's going to do with Abreu and Tucker. I saw some Astros fans have some beef with this too, but we know Dusty likes the alternating left, right, left, right, left, right. So the way this thing is set up, you've got Altuve, a right-handed hitter, hitting first, then Brantley, a lefty, then Bregman, a righty, then Yordan, a lefty, then Abreu, a righty, then Tucker, a lefty. That allows him to have that switch. I don't know if Dusty Baker realizes the 3-batter minimum rule is a thing nowadays, but he still likes to have that back and forth going from right to left. So I could see Dusty doing that. And Abreu gets on base more than Kyle Tucker. Like, Tucker's got more pop, which excites me. You got a guy batting 6 who's got 30 to 40 home run potential every single year. You got a guy stepping up to the plate with Yordan, Abreu, and Bregman potentially on base all of the time. Tucker can get up there and clean it up and bring those guys home. Abreu's that move the line type of guy to have in there. Gets on base a lot, doesn't strike out. He could turn things over to Kyle Tucker, which excites me too. So I could see Dusty liking this because of the right, left. And even though Abreu hasn't really proven himself here, he's a beast. He's proven himself in baseball, obviously. He was a stud in Chicago for a number of years. But even though he's kind of the new guy, I got no problem with him batting 5th because I think he's pretty good insurance and protection for Yordan Alvarez. And I think he's a guy you can rely on to get on a lot. So Kyle Tucker and whoever's batting 7th, whether it's Peña or Brantley, is going to have the opportunity to hit with ducks on the pond as well.
I would move Yordan up to the number 3 spot and swap him with Alex Bregman. I want Yordan batting in the first inning. I want him over the course of a season to get more at-bats. If you hit him 1, 2, or 3, you're not going to probably hit him 1 or 2. I want to see him get more at-bats. The best hitter in your lineup should be batting in the first inning. This old school, he's the cleanup guy. Like, Yordan is not just like a boomer bust hitter. Guy had one of the highest batting averages on the team last year. Like, he's the best pound-for-pound hitter on the team right now, I'd argue.
Yeah, second highest OPS in all of baseball.
So I want him batting.
You could bat him leadoff, honestly, and he'd still be really freaking good.
You could, but like the best hitters in the game either bat second or third, seemingly in every lineup. So I'd like to see Yordan moved up a spot, swap him with Bregman. Boom, problem solved.
I wouldn't hate that either.